right, let's try this again. Let me try to find Rulo's picture. I got a picture of Rulo somewhere. We're going to call Joe Rulo. Take two.
I'm gonna get mine. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. Don't tell me how you're off and down. When you're smiling in my face, but you play me like a clown and you fool, bitch. So just step back, or I'm mad dad when I come down straight. I thought you were my piece, but you play me out. Now I'm mad as hell, and I'm full of doubt. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty. Let's roll.
Governor Rulo.
Governor Rulo, how are you, sir? It's Lefty Grimes.
What's happening, buddy?
Good, man. I catch you during your lunch?
Yeah, but that's okay.
What are you having?
I'm having a healthy frozen strawberry pop covered with dark chocolate, and I just had a turkey sandwich.
Oh, man. Now I'm starving.
I got the munchies.
Well, that's what I want my governor stoned. I'm so glad. Joe Rulo, I think you're great because we're gonna have a Republican governor this year.
I will absolutely do it, but you got to come over and hang out with me until it wears off because I haven't done it for so long that I don't want to freak out. And I need you to be there for like 6 or how long do you think it lasts if you smoke a joint after 15 years?
Ooh, wow. We'll have to hold your hand. You know,
right.
You can, pepper. You take some pepper. If you have so much cannabis in your system, if you're really stoned, sniff some pepper, and it'll wake you up out of your cannabis stupor.
Really?
Yeah, it's a thing. It's an old hippie trick.
I mean, from what you taught me, the different types of cannabis, that I think a lot of the times, sometimes I felt good when I smoked it. Other times I felt like really paranoid. I think it was because there's a sleepy one, and then there's the one where you're more awake. The one where I was more awake, I did really well in school. I was very focused. Every once in a while, I would smoke this kind that would make me very not want to go to the mall, not want to be around people, just really tired and kind of paranoid. And I think that there's a significant difference between the different strains, and I think that's great now that, people are able to actually understand, the different strains so that they can figure out what's best for them,
Yeah, I think it's the rule is indica at night and sativa during the day.
And I'll tell you, indica during the day is not a good thing. Because in the sativa, you could argue it's even a hemp plant, right? Technically, but because cannabis sativa, isn't that technically hemp, but it's got more THC, the sativa that you're talking about?
Yeah, sativas are more long and gangly plants.
Now, if you smoke that, isn't it like kind of takes the edge off, like having a coffee or like a nicotine lozenge, for example?
Are you talking about?
Or maybe, let's say, a wine or two?
You talking about smoking like a hemp plant, a hemp flower, like CBD?
Well, I know back in the day, I tried hashish before, and it's probably the only thing that, for sure, no paranoia at all. It was like a crisp, very slight, very focused feeling, sort of like after you have a wine or two. Not too crazy. I'm still a little bit fuming between you and I. You got these 21 Republican chairmen who come out a week before against the medical and the marijuana bill, and 65% of the people voted for it. How dumb can you be, Jose Arango and all the other 20 chairmen? Why would you come out a week before, not just keep your mouth shut, right? And these are the same guys that you'll see, and I'm not saying every one of them, but a lot of them, you'll see them at a freaking fundraiser boozing out, you know? And it's the hypocrisy that, you know, you're still going to face it. It is what it is. You know, and probably half of them might have tried it before, but, you know, it's different because they tried it, right? But, you know, nobody else can try it. And people that they know, it is what it is. You know, it's just hypocrisy.
I think you're going to need some cannabis in your governor's race this year. You're definitely going to need it. You should do a dab at the podium.
Right.
Have you ever done a dab?
No.
Oh,
What is it?
I want to dab out the governor. Oil. It's like hashish.
I would like an edible if you can mail me a cookie, please.
Well, let's make some. Let's make a cookie together.
What is the deal? Like, when I was younger, like, how does it work? Like, if you were to just put, like, a bud that you were to roll into a joint, right? If you were to put a bud that you just rolled into a joint, you'd smoke it when it's dry. But, like, when you put it in a brownie, if you just ate it green, you wouldn't get high from it. How come when you cook it, you get high from it? How does that work?
Yeah, you have to decarboxylate it. It's a big, long word that I had to learn. You decarboxylate it, and that means burning it at a temperature that activates the THC. So when you burn cannabis, you're activating the THC. By eating it, you're not going to activate the THC because your body is not giving enough heat. So you need to heat that cannabis to a certain temperature for that effect.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So basically, and does it make you higher than smoking a joint?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Because what happens, because your intestines are absorbing it over the 22 feet of the intestines and the 7 feet of the duodenum.
Yeah,
it's just a constant flow.
Yeah, it's absorption and it's long.
Also concentrated, I would say.
Concentrated. It lasts
Really?
longer.
Even more than inhaling it into your lungs, which releases blood into everywhere in your
Yes.
brain? Really?
Yes. You could do tincture. How about a tincture might work for you too?
What is it?
A tincture, a cannabis tincture that goes under your tongue. And there's also cannabis suppositories you might be interested in.
Nah, that's okay. I don't think I've ever even done a suppository, period.
They've worked for me, actually. Not to get all graphic, but they've worked for me when I had my surgery on my neck. I was afraid I'd be back on opiates because I was on opiates for 10 years because of my lower back. And I didn't want to go back on opiates, so I made sure that I had enough cannabis after my surgeries, my 2-level fusion, that I wouldn't need any. And sure enough, I did suppositories. It wasn't the best thing in the world, comfortably, but it worked. I didn't take opiates, man.
So when you have had pain, right? Basically, because I don't ever recall having pain too much when I was younger because I always either smoked or partied and drank. But you know, I don't recall. You know, I did have major problems. I told you about this with my C6 and 7 in my neck, and believe it or not, I was kind of like taking the stupid, you know, what do they call it, muscle relaxers for it.
Oh.
And it helped a little bit, but it also, by the way, makes your stomach fall asleep, and you get very sick after a while because your stomach will actually shut down for muscle relaxers. But my question is when you're when you have pain, for example, in your neck, and you smoke marijuana, what does it do? Does it dumb it or numb it? What does it do? How does it work? Like, what is it, like, how do you feel? Like, for example, okay, morphine doesn't take away pain, I've heard from people. It basically dumbs and numbs it. So it's still there. Like, if you had a headache, you would know the headache was there, but you can't feel the headache anymore, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense or not. Somebody just explained it to me. Like, how does the marijuana work with pain? Does it just shut it off?
No, it doesn't work as effectively as opiates in some ways, but more effectively in others. So it's actually more of a healing also. The CBD is healing my body. But the THC is helping with the pain and also distracting my mind from the pain.
Also, it's we have an endocannabinoid system, which it like what I read was it what is it? It helps in, like, I guess, in recovering cells in a way.
Yeah. And THC and CBD actually starve the blood flow to tumors. So God put this medicine here for us. It's obvious to me because all this man-made poison that they're making is killing people. But the stuff that God put here doesn't hurt anybody, and it's actually healing 1,000 ailments. Over 1,000. I bet you know how many ailments it heals? 1,111 ailments. That's the number it heals right there. I bet nobody ever knew that, but that's the number.
And I'll tell you, so I was taking, the Canaway, which is like a medical grade CBD for a while, and I basically, when I took it, my cannabinoid system, once it became saturated, unfortunately, I discovered that it causes massive depression in me. Therefore, I can take CBD, let's say a teaspoon, maybe once in a while, but if it saturates, I start to get depressed. It's horrible. And it also causes mood swings in me, which I don't know why. Very big mood swings. Like now that I've been, I took it for a while. Now if I take a teaspoon, I have to be prepared to be moody for a couple of days after I take it. And remember, for those that are listening later on, CBD doesn't make you high. It basically is the derivative of the plant, which people don't understand. CBD, also other things. But yes, getting back to that, what about CBD? First, with the 2 weeks, I felt like I got 16-year-old and the ability to not be stubborn and to live back in the Reagan days where they sprayed the fields with, poison, that a lot of people our age, by the way, are affected by that. Remember back in the 80s when they sprayed the damn weed? They thought they were going to poison the crap, and the weed didn't die. They end up selling it to a bunch of kids. And there's people having paranoid and panic attacks to this day from it. And people still, Jose Arango's age, they still believe that speech that Nancy Reagan gave that one day about, oh, you don't see colors anymore. Everything's black and white and gray when you smoke marijuana. The hell it is. Everything's colorful when you smoke marijuana. I feel bad that, people are stigmatized, based on, if you're drunk, that's acceptable at a fundraiser, at a political function, which there's many of them in politics. But if you smoke a joint, you're now like this druggie. And you know what? The difference is hops versus cannabis. They're both plants. One is favored, one is not. I think that's the argument that we need to bring to the table in this state. Look at how many liquor stores there are. Why aren't there going to be that many marijuana stores? Why aren't there going to be that many growers? Why can't Lucky grow in his backyard? This is a failure of this governor.
Joe, they're taxing us. They're taxing cancer patients in wheelchairs.
Unbelievable. On the prescription, right?
2% tax from Maplewood, Atlantic City, all these towns that are allowing cannabis. There's a 2% tax on medical tax.
That's bull crap.
Come on, you're taxing people in
You
wheelchairs.
don't pay a tax. You don't pay a tax for chemo. You don't pay a tax for any other drug.
No, I'm calling it a wheelchair tax, and I hope they don't like it.
Well, it's really unfair.
Well, if you get an ounce for $400, they take $8. And I made the reference of going into their town, and that's my lunch money. You took my lunch money. Now the lunch money that was going to go get a coffee or something and a donut or two, now I don't have that.
Yeah, they're taking our lunch money, Joe.
Plus, you're paying the built-in tax of what the price is.
Yeah.
Yeah, for 400.
Isn't there already a tax on top of that 2% from the state?
Yes.
It's like cigarettes. Cigarettes aren't $10 a pack. They're actually like $1 or $2. I think the tax is like $7 or $8 a pack. Some ridiculous amount of money.
Wow. Yeah, for a $450 ounce.
You know what I would do? You know what I would do as governor? I would say, everybody grow it and do whatever you want. I'm going to be in this office probably 20, 30 hours a week signing pardons as long as you don't commit any violent offense or, obviously any crimes while you're doing it. I would just pardon everybody. The legislature wouldn't even know what to do. I would do the same thing for concealed carry as well. If people were carrying and concealing like a woman in her purse because she was afraid that her boyfriend or husband was going to kill her even though she had a restraining order on him. What are they going to do if the governor just pardons everybody? They can't do anything, can they?
Joe Rullo, you're governor for your first 100 days. What are you doing your first 100 days?
Well, I think the first day, what I would do is I would address all of the issues that, I promised to do things with. For example, I would make sure, that first of all, the taxes in this state are really, really bad. And to offset that as well, you have to bring in revenues. And that would be what I would really, really, really be focused on. The Second Amendment, huge issue. I would do everything in my power to issue as many executive orders as possible. I would let everybody out of jail with the marijuana who basically did not commit a violent offense. I know a guy right now from Ocean County. He's in jail for, I believe, 11 to 15 years for having 10 plants. And he sold it only to, family, like a vegetable. He was, he was like the middleman for his family. And he wasn't like a big don selling all over the country. And it doesn't matter if he did because now people are allowed to do it. So be it, right? But guys like him on day one would be out of jail because he never did anything other than grow a damn plant in the backyard like somebody does a tomato. There would be so many things that I would want to do. I'd probably visit a veterans hospital. I'd probably visit some stores and be very public. I think that's important. People want that, If I wasn't like that, I think it would kill me anyway because I'm a people person, you know. But it looks like, the GOP's rigging it for Jack Ciattarelli, who, good luck on knowing where that guy stands.
Well, Joe, as a 501c3, I can't endorse or not endorse you. But look at this. Eatontown's calling me. Could that be the other guy? Hey, Joe, hold on.
Oh.
Listen to this. I'm gonna three-way you. Hold on. This should be good. Listen to this. Hello, this is Lefty. Hello? Hello, this is Lefty.
Hi, Lefty. Gary Cazazza from the Council in Lumsden. How are you?
Oh, hi, Gary. How you doing?
Good. If I'm calling at a bad time, this is my cell. You can call me back.
Oh no, this is fine. I just lost my I was on the phone with our future governor Joe Rullo, and I lost him. So I don't know what happened. Yeah, I'm sorry. Hold on.
Why don't you call him back and then call me? Can you?
That's okay. I can call him anytime. I wanted to speak to you. It was very important. We heard what you had said at the council. Some of us were at the council with you, and you actually had stopped the meeting. They were going to stop the meeting, and you had stopped them. You said, "Hold on," and you had an experience with cannabis yourself, and I was amazed at the leadership that you showed because I don't think anyone else on your council is pro cannabis.
Well, they're not, and it goes back to the advertising campaign, teaching from when I was younger. I'm 65, and for most of my life, it was drummed into our heads that it was bad, and that's as simple as a description as I can give you. And it's very difficult to convince people that something that they were taught is bad could have good uses. I've seen the good uses. I do believe that it has good uses. I also am very concerned of children because it could be a double-edged sword, but so is alcohol. Alcohol socially could have a good use, helps people relax, but it can be abused and it could be a problem for children. So there is a balance. I think as a society, we have to find that balance. I think the new law makes progress, but I do think it also has certain deficiencies that need to be corrected.
Yeah, there's quite a few. Law enforcement has a good point with some of their issues. I understand that. If I had a kid, I'd want to know what he was doing, and but at the same point, I think they want to take that out of the hands of law enforcement and put it in the hands of nurses and social workers rather than give these kids a record. They want to have the nurses and social workers deal with that stuff. That's what I think they're going with that.
Critically important. I happen to be away right now. I'm in Colorado at my daughter and future son-in-law's house. And I'll tell you a quick story about my daughter and how I feel about law enforcement. And I think what sums up the difficulties with the law. My daughter went to, by the way, she grew up in Rumson, so she grew up with a silver spoon. And she went to University of South Carolina. And one night at about 2 o'clock in the morning, she's walking back on the sidewalk with a bunch of her girlfriends, and she's balancing herself on a curb. And the police car comes up and tells her to get on the sidewalk. And being a wise ass, she tells the cop no, and they go back and forth. And the cop says, "You don't listen to me. I'm going to arrest you." She says, "You can't arrest me." Well, lo and behold, he gives her a summons that says mandatory appearance in court, charges her with a felony. And I find out about it, and I said, "This is a problem. You can't get a felony."